NHS waiting lists in England could hit 8 million by next summer, even if doctors' strikes stop, according to a health charity.
Good morning. The rise of the retail park. More stores are being opened than are being closed in our out-of-town shopping centres. I'll be finding out why.
Constance Martin and her partner Mark Gordon have pleaded not guilty to charges over the death of their 2-month-old baby. Victoria's body was discovered on the 1st of March in a Brighton shed after a week-long police search for the family. Ms Martin and Mr Gordon appeared at the Old Bailey on Thursday and pleaded not guilty to manslaughter. The government could face a judicial review after excluding some health workers from a one-off bonus. It was part of a pay deal that recognised the pressure of the COVID pandemic on staff, but thousands of outsourced staff, such as community nurses, will not receive it. Well, the Department of Health says it is looking into that issue. And for the first time in years, the Remembrance Poppy has undergone a change. The new flowers for the Royal British Legion's annual appeal are entirely plastic-free and can be recycled. There have been more than 10 versions of the poppy since the first appeal in the year 1921.
A charter flight carrying Afghan refugees who worked with or for the British government has arrived in the UK from Pakistan. More than 3,200 people have been stuck in Pakistan waiting for their visas to be processed, including former translators for the British Army and teachers for the British Council who fled Afghanistan after the Taliban returned to power in 2021. Police are searching for sex offender Richard Scatchard, who's wanted for questioning about the death of a woman at his home in Somerset. Officers want to talk to the 70-year-old in connection with a murder investigation over the death of a 61-year-old woman. Wildlife experts have criticised the government after it announced there are no plans to reintroduce some of the UK's lost species. Ministers say bringing back animals like the white-tailed eagle and lynx is not a priority, but the charity Rewilding Britain says that nature recovery targets won't be reached. Parents in England can go online to find out what childcare they're entitled to as part of government plans to offer working families more flexibility. Nurseries are set to expand to provide more places, and £289 million will be given to local councils for wraparound care. The School Leaders Union, NHT, said that far more investment is needed.
Edward Enninful has been named the UK's most influential black person by the Power List 2024.
The editor-in-chief of British Vogue topped the annual list of the most powerful people of African, African-Caribbean and African-American heritage in Britain. Others on the list include actor Selene Henry, musician Stormzy and comedian Mo Gilligan.
The online safety bill, which will force tech firms to take more responsibility for content on their platforms, have become law. The legislation now means the onus is on social media and tech firms to protect children from harmful material. Some critics have raised concerns about the implications for privacy, while others say it doesn't go far enough.
Well, the Online Safety Act was supposed to keep us safe online. I think it's going to do some really good things for children, but for most of us adults, unfortunately won't be tackling the kind of harmful misinformation and disinformation that's so prevalent online.
Now, in the past few minutes, the banking giant Natwest has published its numbers for the 3 months to October, and Peter's taking a look at this for us this morning.
Yes, good morning. And what happens at Natwest Group matters, of course, because the UK government still owns 38% of the bank after it was bailed out during the global financial crisis. Now, actually, what people were most interested in today was former Chief Executive Dame Alison Rose. Remember, she had to resign in the early hours of the morning back in July after admitting to leaking information about Nigel Farage's Coutts bank account. Now, Dame Alison is still receiving her £2.4 million salary while she serves her notice period. The board had been reviewing how much of the cash she was due to receive. Today, they say still no decision has been made, but they will give an update as soon as possible. Away from that, the business is doing a lot better. Between July and September, it made £866 million in profit, way higher than the same period last year. That, of course, due to higher interest rates, so the bank charging higher mortgage fees for its customers.
Let's take a look at today's papers. The Guardian is leading on what's described as Israel's limited raid into Gaza yesterday, quoting preparation for a more sustained ground offensive. The paper says Israeli forces have entered a new phase of the war against Hamas.
Let's have a look at the Times this morning, quoting UK government figures that say around 200 Britons are trapped in Gaza. The paper says Border Force officials have been sent to Egypt in the hope they will be able to evacuate any British citizens before a ground invasion. And The Sun is one number of papers that splashes on the news that former Minister Crispin Blunt was arrested in connection with an allegation of rape and the possession of controlled substances. Mr Blunt has said he's confident he will not be charged.
Finally, The Express reports on research that suggests the total number of people living with dementia in England and Wales may hit 1.7 million by the year 2040. The paper says the figure is 40% higher than previous estimates, but says new drugs may offer hope that the condition will become treatable.
This morning's front pages. Let's start with The Guardian, shall we? Coverage of Israel and Hamas war, focusing there on Israel's raid into Gaza, declaring a new phase of the conflict has started. 200 Britons trapped in Gaza plead for help is the headline on the front of the Times there, adding that the Prime Minister has promised to do everything possible as Border Force officials are sent to Egypt. The Telegraph's take on the war, the invitation by Russian President Vladimir Putin for Hamas and Iranian leaders to visit Moscow. The Mirror also there leading on the situation in Gaza with a picture of the distressed and injured child, which we've chosen not to show. And The Eye there reporting on the arrest of Conservative MP Crispin Blunt on suspicion of rape and possession of a controlled substance. And The Sun there leading with that story too, with the headline MP in rape and drugs arrests. In further coverage, the Daily Mail reports the ex-Justice Minister Crispin Blunt names himself as suspect. Reporting on Rishi Sunak's belief that artificial intelligence poses a threat to humanity, the Metro has the headline, "End of the World is AI." But the FT has happier news involving the US economy, which has seen a 4.9% increase to its gross domestic product. And The Express there reports on hope for treatment for dementia, with cases in the UK set to soar in the coming years. And if you want to see any of those front pages again, or just read the stories, and just scan the QR code which is on your screen.